Hi ladies, it is 9:40 p.m. on Saturday, May 18th. Cheers. I promised y'all a vlog after the last live video. I did put a poll up earlier last week asking which type of video content you preferred, vlogs or the Facebook Lives. The overwhelming response was vlogs. Thank you to everyone who answered. Granted, every single live I've done has been at like 10 p.m. Pacific or later, sometimes 1 a.m. Pacific, so obviously I didn't expect that to win out. But I say all that to say I wanted to cover some of the stuff we did discuss in Thursday's live and go over some housekeeping issues and some new stuff. So thank you to Jen Koontz and Sunny who added 2 extra options to the poll. Jen had added text as an option to the poll, meaning upon clarification with Jen, like I will obviously continue and we all will continue to post, regular written content, meaning articles, our own posts, etc., non-media posts. So thank you, Jen, for that option. And Sunny had posted an option basically suggesting in real life. So I wanted to clarify that option, which we did talk about in the live, which is when Sunny, my co-admin, was here, and please watch her video that she filmed her live earlier I think she filmed it on Friday. Please film that video, comment, give her a like. There's some really important topics brought up in that, both relating to this space and just relating to things that I think the great majority of us are dealing with in our own personal lives. But when she came to visit in fall of last year, we filmed a description video which coincides with the description I originally wrote, and she helped me kind of modify and edit after a few years, which if you are physically in the group, if you look to the right hand side of the page, you will see it says description. Please take 20-30 seconds to read it. Make sure you're in the right place, right? And that you're inviting people to the right place, that it speaks to you. But we filmed a video. Spoiler alert, there's cameos from Schmitty, aka Jordan, and Mayari. If you want to laugh, if you want to cry, if you want to leave the group and then cry and then definitely come back because you want to laugh and cry together, this is your video. But just take like a moment at least to read the description. That being said, one of the things that we talked about was starting meetups via meetup.com. When this group started in fall of 2014, when I created it, it was through the membership and support of 20 to 40 of my closest friends, half of which were on the East Coast from Orlando and half of which were here in the Bay Area. And I can say that every single one of the people that was here from day one is still here, so thank you. But one of the things that we were doing back in the day was weekly phone calls. This was something that was inspired by something I had been introduced to living in Oakland, which was called a circle group, which I don't know that anybody really participates anymore because much like pyramid schemes, they've kind of gone by the wayside. Not by the wayside, pyramid schemes still exist, but they've more or less put a bad taste in people's mouths. And circle groups were supposed to be like the antithesis of a pyramid scheme, but at the end of the day, they both involve funding, which gets upcycled. So anyways, that's neither here nor there, but one of the things I took away from learning about that was that they were having weekly calls with women that they both knew and perfect strangers. So at the inception of this group, for like the first 6 months or so, maybe longer, I'm not sure, they weren't recorded, so they're not something you can access now, but we would have group conference calls, and one of the things that Sunny and I discussed was that when she was visiting, and how do we get back to that, and the next best thing was creating a meetup. So we have, if you go to meetup.com and do a search for Bay Area Women's Group or Orlando Women's Group, you will see both of our respective groups, pages. I can say, unfortunately, I've only had one meetup, and I did that in fall of last year. It was amazing. Every single woman that showed up was because of meetup.com, not because they were aware of this group, but the byproduct is some of them are now part of this group. Logistical reasons and, just life getting in the fucking way have precluded me from having had events since then, but my goal for the duration of this year and moving forward is to get back on that saddle and start scheduling them and hosting them. I do want to give a special shout out and just show of gratitude to Sunny, because she has maintained the Orlando Women's Group since we discussed this in fall of last year. So if you are in Central Florida, I know Sensuous, aka Heather Armstrong, you know her, you love her, has participated. My mom went to one late last year. Do a search on meetup.com for Orlando Women's Group. You will see the profile pictures. It's beautiful. I think it's Venus, but it's like this backlit golden situation of Venus in a clamshell. If you can't find it, you want to find out more, DM me, DM Sunny, comment in the comments when this video goes up. Excuse me. Anyways, it's a great way to meet women that you otherwise wouldn't and support one another and just expand upon what we're creating here. So again, women from this group are obviously privy to it, but it is open to the public, women specifically, or those that identify as such. I just want to talk about the membership really quickly. So I did mention this in a couple of posts, and we talked about this in the live. Over the past 4.5 years, the group grew from about 20 to 40 to a little shy of 1,700. As we know, being on Facebook, most of us are in groups we don't even know we've been added to, right? So what I did was I just spring cleaned and just got rid of inactive Facebook accounts, the 2 deceased people, rest in peace Lucinda, we love you, and anyone that I knew for a fact had not engaged in any way, shape, or form. So what we are left with is this kind of equilibrium. I think we're right around the 500-600 mark. It might drop a little bit more. Hopefully it will grow more, but it will grow organically. I say all of that to say, if you go to members and you scroll down, you will see that 95, if not more percent of the 500, 600 bitches that are here are all referrals. They're all people that I've invited or you have invited. So thank you for that. And of course, I have not deleted anyone that you've invited, at least not on purpose. If you notice that somebody was deleted that shouldn't have been, please re-invite them or DM me. Anyone can invite anyone. On top of the description, there is a little bar that literally says invite. So add anyone. But yeah, the third thing I want to talk about housekeeping wise is I will be redundant and invite everyone to engage with video content. So or participate rather with video content. So whether it's a short intro, if you want to go on a tirade, if you want to do your own live, if you want to moderate on a topic, like whatever the fuck you want to do, like be drunk, do karaoke like me and Schmitty, whatever it is, video content is getting a lot of engagement, and I want to especially thank my mom for posting her video content, for Sunny for taking the time to film a live and posting that. And I really encourage you guys to watch that live. It was filmed on Friday. You can search by her name or just go to videos under the photo albums. She talks about a lot of things that I think are not only apropos to what's going on in current events and just being exhausted and finding ourselves lonely and kind of sitting alone. As even Amy mentioned in a comment earlier tonight, in just the shittiness that's going on. Sunny is really naming a lot of stuff that she's going through, and I think that please watch that video. I think it will speak to you, and I think if you can comment and just engage and like and just acknowledge when people are taking the time to do these things, it means a lot. So thank you, Sunny. Thank you again, Marissa Gagliardi, for your videos that you've posted. If you are interested in recipes, specifically vegan lifestyle, give her some love. Her Facebook page we've posted about, but if you go to her video, you will see all of her links. Of course, my mom, lindalouhamel.com, Nicole Smith Talbot, we've talked about, of course, and some of you are already part of the cooking club and have purchased her spices or know her in real life. But if you go to p.s.flavors or p.s.flavor cooking club, join it. The upcoming video is coming on May the 23rd, which is this coming Thursday. And you can obviously go to the cooking club, get request an ad and get added to said club. You'll be able to see where you can purchase the spices, which are a collaboration between Nicole, who I've known since I was 15 and has been supporting the space and you guys since 2014, and her mother, Pam Smith, who is a nutritionist. She hosts all of the cooking demos at Disney's Food and Wine Festival. She's been a light in my life since I was 15. So please give them a like and a follow. But if you want to find out more about the cooking club, please check out p.s.flavors. And the upcoming event is on, like I said, the live cooking demo. They screen them live. Is on May 23rd. It will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And they're going to be doing a chili lime, which is one of their signature spice blends, a chili lime seared pork chop with, a red pepper chutney. That's for you, Schmitty, that's for you, Nicole. A chutney. And a crashed porcini pepper. Now, if you ask me what a crashed porcini pepper is, I may have to cut your face, because I don't know. But it sounds delightful. Please watch. We always do watch parties within group too, so God forbid you can't find the group, we'll do a watch party and put the links in, and that way you can comment. They do answer questions live. If you have dietary restrictions, if you're vegan, if you're this or that, they will always give you alternatives on how to prepare said recipe. Just one more circle back to Sunny. I have mentioned this time and time again, but I don't want to not do a full plug. Please check out Sunny's group Choice Driven Life. Please, okay? You want the content that's curated, thought-provoking. This bitch does not binge post like Mel. Okay, if you want like pacing and a proper situation, you go to Choice Driven Life. Final plug. Oh, 2 plugs. M.E.Sims, S-I-M-S. Let's talk about Emmy Sims. So Emmy Sims joined the group, I think, early last year, and she was kind enough to join us back when we were doing some Zoom sessions, which I want to attempt to do again, but one thing at a time. Emmy Sims is a goddess, and I'm so glad that I got to meet you, and she does share her newsletters in group every time she publishes them, so please check out her page, give her a like, give her some support. She is a coach as well, much like Sunny, but and please, Emmy, if you want to do a video, or please just correct me, because you know I'm not going to articulate your truth the way it deserves to be, but she is very much about sexual health and sex coaching, and specifically is a woman of a certain age, and let's just call it what it is. Emmy Sims is not 22. Emmy Sims is a silver foxess. I know she's told me her age, but I'm not going to reveal it. I'm just going to say she's definitely between the ages of 40 and 65. So, you do the math. She speaks to sexual health, invigorating your relationships, especially if you're a woman of a certain age. So, special shout outs to ME for the work that you're doing and for supporting us, and we love you. Final plug is going to go out to my Aunt Tina. You know her, you love her, Tina Coe, C-O-E. She just recently did an intro post, and I want to thank you again for that. If you do have any photography needs and or you just want to support a bitch, go to Photo Co, all one word, Photo COE Photography LLC on Facebook. Please give her a like and a follow. If you're in Central Florida and you need your wedding photographed, if you want your fucking food photographed, if you want your cat photographed, like you want to talk to my aunt. And one of the things that she talked about in that intro post is what it's like to kind of start a career after a certain age. Now, I'm 36. My aunt is at least 10 years older than me. She, throughout my growing up, was in banking. And then she did a 180 a couple years ago. She can tell you what her current career is, but she started also delving into photography within the past 5 years and has turned that into her second career, which has been very successful. So one of the things that she was speaking to is like, you know, what it's the fear associated with, or the excitement, or just all of the things that go along with starting something professionally after a certain age. And thank you to Sunny for commenting about when you started your career. I invite other people to share if you started your career after your 30s, after your 40s, after your 50s. I think we need to hear those stories. And ME, you did recently post about some famous women who are, you know, fucking badass and fierce and doing the damn thing well into their fucking 70s and 80s. But I think we need to hear that. I think we need to hear those individual comments and stories from women that aren't in their 20s, that are maybe in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, that are doing something for the first time, whether it's professionally or personally, whatever. Because no matter what age you are, there is that FOMO, right? Like, I have it, and I have it. Not so much FOMO, but like the disease of comparison, right? Like, nothing is more toxic than comparing yourself to somebody else. But it is also impossible not to do. Some of my peers, some are in this group, some are not in this group, have been in vogue, have their own Netflix shows, are writing, producing, and directing films, I mean, Jesus, pretty much everybody that came out. I mean, Britney Spears. And I mean, Orlando is a breeding ground for fucking success. I don't think people remember that. But even people that I knew personally, and know personally, are doing things, and I'm just like, fuck, what am I doing? I'm just like vlogging on Facebook. Like, but I can't do that. I do that, but like, I shouldn't do that. So like, this is a good opportunity for us to have a conversation. Like, how are you guys coping with that? Like, oh, I went to high school with so-and-so, or I work with so-and-so, or whatever, grew up with so-and-so, and they're this, and I'm this. Or I'm this, and the people I know are this. Like, what does the opposite look like? Like, I made it out, I'm over here, maybe I have some guilt. I don't know, like, it's a whole thing. But thank you to Tina for bringing that up. So that covers housekeeping and shameless plugs. If you do want to shamelessly plug, or want me to shamelessly plug, we are here to support one another professionally and personally. Just don't come in here and be like fucking Mary Kay knocking on the door. Like, let us know who the fuck you are, what you're about, before you come in and be like, I'm a life coach, or I'm selling Avon, or, you know, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. Do you guys ever wonder, like, if we're gonna hit a critical mass where, like, all of us become life coaches and there's nobody else to coach? You think about that? That's a good Black Mirror episode. Anyways, one of the things I talked about in the live was the expense of having a child, which I know nothing of, but I do know the expense of having a single, say hi to the camera. Camera? Hello? Show me your eyes. Can you show me your eyes? Is the camera not going to catch? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. That's what Mama was looking for. We were talking about dental feline. Look at that. Yes, queen. Anyways, we were talking about, like, the cost of feline dental hygiene. So I literally talked about this on Thursday, how pre-anesthetic blood work, the anesthesia, and the periodontal work for a cat is around $1,000, at least here in the Bay Area. When I was in Florida, it was like about $600, but that was also 10 years ago, so it's probably the same. Today, she lost one of her canines. I'm really upset about it because I know she's in pain. She's got a little bit of a fat lip. It's obviously going to cause her issues. I could see that she had, like, obviously gum disease. We knew about this, and I had an appointment scheduled, but I had to cancel the appointment because I didn't have the money on time, and then when I did have the money, the vet had to reschedule. Like, it's just been like a back and forth for almost 6 months to get her teeth clean. So I just want to say, like, if you do have a cat or a dog, or, I don't know, maybe some other mammals need dental work, I don't know, but I would definitely, like, check with your vet when they get past 5, 6, she's almost 8 years old. Check. If you're not cleaning your animal's teeth, whether it's a dog or a cat, manually with a toothbrush or like a little finger brush that you can get from the vet, if you're not doing something like that, or they're really resistant to it, even if you are, like, you really should check with your vet about gum disease, because it does have an adverse effect. Obviously, we know ears, nose, and throat are connected, so when they do get an infection in their mouth, it does affect the other parts of their body, and it can also cause a great deal of discomfort, pain, and anxiety. So just want to let you know, Cinda lost a tooth today, so the tooth fairy is going to come tonight and give her lots of wet treats in the morning. But yeah, if you have an indoor cat, just maybe look at their gums, and if you see inflammation, take them to the vet, because it can and will lead to larger problems that I can speak to. On a lighter note, do I have any lighter notes? I don't, because it's almost time for my abortion story. Right, Sin? Right? Sin? Yeah. Meow too. Meow too. Oh, so one of the things we talked about on the live, actually the last 2 lives, was I was going to say Marissa Tomei, that's not right. The Alyssa Milano article / tweet or whatever, that she was calling for a sex strike, like basically like let's withhold sex until we all have autonomy over our bodies. Well, you know, let's hold our breath, shit in one hand, wish in the other. I was asking in the live, like, I just didn't get it. Like, I just felt like this was, like, misguided, and I see her intentions are in the right place, and CJ Brown, you know her, you love her, also commented on it to speak, and we talked about this in the live as well. CJ had commented on that Alyssa Milano post that Indigenous women in the past, specifically Native American women, had done something similar as a means to protest their sons, their young men, being called off to war, specifically wars being fought by white men, and that it actually yielded positive results. And I'm very much minimizing the impact of that comment and you know, the greater story behind it, but obviously things like this have power. We do have power when it comes to that. I just feel like I didn't know what to make of it, and I was asking, like, you guys, like, well, do you think, like, this is a good thing? Like, is this something that would actually, is this beneficial to our cause as women, as feminists, as whatever? Like, I was just asking because it felt like it would just be another thing that I'd be like, look at what these dumb bitches are doing. Like, I don't know. There was an article that I posted in response to that, and I think it was from Vice. I'm pretty sure it was from Vice. That was like, you know, things you can do as opposed to the Alyssa Milano sex strike to protest or to to protest the abortion bans, to engage in a way that would affect change more effectively. So you can see that article. But I just want to give a special shout out to CJ Brown. I first went back to college in 2008 in Central Florida at Rollins College. Had one of the best experiences of my life personally and academically, and the first class I ever took as a college student was cultural anthropology with CJ Brown in 2008. And she's a professor, she's a mother, and she is very well versed in indigenous cultures, indigenous people's issues. And my God, like, she's been here since I started this group, and I can't wait until I go home again and I get to see her and hug her in real life. But the breadth and depth of knowledge and personal experience she shares with us, shout outs to CJ. So before I go into the abortion story and abortion situations in general, which obviously is the topic of the hour, one of the things I talked about in the last two lives, is that I'm not waiting anymore. Like, I'm not waiting for people to give me feedback. I'm starting book club. I've asked for feedback in the past. I've not been ready to do it. I've not followed through. Like, the time is now. Like, I'm starting book club. So this coming Wednesday, the 22nd, at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, which is the best I can do, unfortunately, time zone wise. And there will be a Zoom invitation with the book description and all of the details posted separately and in the comments of this video. We are going to read Annihilation. So I first found out about Annihilation when I saw the preview for the motion picture, which came out in summer of last year, maybe early fall. It stars Natalie Portman, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Jennifer Jason Leigh. It is science fiction, but not like alien science fiction. It's very metaphysical, it's very philosophical, it's very amazing. So I saw the movie. I've seen the movie at least 10 times now. I've made everyone I know watch it. I love it. It's actually on Netflix, but I happened into my local bookstore and I saw this and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know it was an adaptation. Spoiler alert, it's an adaptation of a trilogy. Let's run the wrong order. Annihilation, Authority, and Acceptance by Jeff Vandermeer. And the gentleman who adapted Annihilation into the movie is the same guy that wrote The Beach, Alex Garland, which was adapted into a film by Danny Boyle, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. If you haven't seen it, Tilda Swinton, of course, is in it. But Alex Garland, who has written several books between The Beach and now, The Tesseract, also a great book by Alex Garland, made his directorial debut when he directed Ex Machina, which came out 2 years ago. Highly recommend that as well. We'll do a separate video. I could do 2 hours on that fucking movie. But this is the second movie he's directed, Annihilation. So I would encourage you to watch the movie if you don't have time to read the book or don't want to read the book. The movie's amazing. It was not, it was in the theaters for a hot second. Like, it wasn't like a blockbuster. Very few people went to see it. I think it was also like a limited release. Like, you had to go to like the Enzion or some fucking highbrow. Not that the Enzion is highbrow, but like, it wasn't playing at your local AMC. At least not initially. And if it was there for like 2 weeks. Nobody went to see it. It was critically acclaimed. I really thought it was going to get nominated for some shit last year. It didn't. You know, not all of my dreams come true. We're going to read the book. It's 195 pages. I'm asking if you're going to participate in this book club that you read through page 95, which brings you up until chapter 3 by Wednesday of next week, which is the 22nd. I'm going to put some discussion questions, but I invite anybody else, whether you've read the book or just seen the movie, please post some discussion questions as long as they're not like spoilery, so we can have a dialogue. And then whether or not you've read the book, or seen the movie, once the book club is ended, we will also talk about the movie too. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Annihilation, you'll see the Zoom event go up shortly and the links for that. So before I talk, well, I guess I should talk about it now, because I don't want to end on like a shite note. Not that it's shite, but... Oh! Hang on, let me get my bearings on. Talk amongst yourselves. I want to give a special shout out to Tamara Marshall Perry, who I have known since I was, I think, and Tamara, you can correct me if I'm wrong, since first grade at St. John Vianney. I think Tamara and I have known each other since we were 6 years old. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, we went to different high schools after 8 years of going to school together, but many sleepovers were had. I know your sister. Now you're a mother of two and a dog mother and a wife, and you were a ballet dancer and still are, and you're also a fucking a medical doctor. Like, what happened? What happened? What happened? Anyways, I want to give a special shout out to Tamara for posting or reposting something that she found in a group, another group separate from ours. And this is just going to be my little introduction into the topic of the abortion ban, because whether you fall left of center, right of center, if you're a woman of faith, if you've had an abortion, if you're atheist, if you're anti-abortion, we need to be having a conversation, and I'm hoping that I'm creating a safe space for people of opposing viewpoints to do so. I know I don't always succeed at doing that and fostering that or moderating that, because ultimately I can't help where I fall, so it's always going to have my slant, and like minds are going to attract like minds. But I just want to, one of the things we talked about in the live, or I talked about in the live, was that personally I believe, as somebody that's had an abortion, but even prior to having an abortion, being raised by a woman who had abortions and who raised me to be pro-choice and be an advocate for a woman's choice to make these types of decisions with her doctor, with her family, and ultimately with herself. I was pro-choice before I ever got pregnant. I'm still pro-choice. And even prior to getting pregnant and having my abortion, everything that I learned academically and just from experience from other people is that, and from history, is that abortion in concert with birth control are two of the main factors for a healthy functioning society, whether it's the first world or the third world or anything in between. It's really hard to just articulate how without. I just feel very inarticulate when I speak about this, because I know what I want to say, but I feel like I need stats and references to back it up, and I'm doing the best that I can, but there is a direct correlation, and if you have facts that counter this and you want to have a dialogue and a debate and discussion about this, please, that's why we're here. As long as we're all being respectful, let's have that. We need opposing viewpoints, and we need to share and learn from one another. But I am confident that history teaches us that when you make abortion illegal, or you limit people's access to contraception and their education about contraception and abortion. Not only does it not stop abortion, because women will take a coat hanger and drag that thing out of their fucking uterus come hell or high water to their own detriment. You can outlaw abortion, you can illegalize it. All that's doing is harming women individually, meaning they will get sick and they will die. It's destroying families. But if you do force women to, for the women that do bring unwanted babies to term, we know that prior to Roe v. Wade, history teaches that with the boon of unprecedented levels of unwanted birth follows children that grow up in unhappy households, without fathers, or in households that are economically ill-equipped to support them, which then leads to lives of crime, incarceration, and it is the circle of life, just, minus the wonderful Disney score. And as soon as safe abortion is made legal and accessible to anyone who wants it, we see all of that other shit not disappear, but go by the wayside. Crime levels drop. Children, that don't come from happy homes, like there's less trauma, there's less crime, there's less incarceration. Like, all of the byproducts of an unhealthy society can be correlated to banning a woman's right to safe and legal abortion, or to access to contraception, and or to sex education. And I just want to, I'm going to read this quote that Tamara Marshall Perry, thank you, again, not just a woman of color, not just a beautiful ballet dancer, and somebody I've known since I was 6, not just a wife, not just a dog mother, not just a medical professional, but just like all of those things, and then all of the things that I can't name, was kind enough to share this. And she is sharing something that was posted with permission by another retired OBGYN. And I quote, "I was a medical student at Cook County Hospital in 1972, which is in Chicago, the year before abortion became legal. We had a 40-bed septic abortion ward for complications of illegal abortions. The patients were all poor, mostly African American, and desperate. My job as the medical student on the ward was to go around with a cart of IV antibiotics, hang the meds, and check the vitals. Also to notify, and I'm not going to pronounce this right, the Diener, D-I-E-N-E-R, essentially the morgue worker responsible for moving the corpse. Also to notify the Diener when a patient died. This ward closed the year after abortion became legal. There was no need anymore. I fear we are heading toward reopening this type of facility at every hospital in a poor community." And I also just want to say to Amy Marie, who commented on that post, if I may quote you, "I am so deeply saddened by what is taking place, and I can't describe the frustration I feel. I am also sad to say this makes me feel a bit powerless, and I don't want to sit in that feeling." So thank you to you both for sharing. And Tamara was also kind enough and vulnerable enough to share her own personal abortion story on a previous post. So thank you. That does mean a lot, and thank you to anybody else that had done the same. I think this is just one of many examples of stories that women need to be sharing and telling, because it's one thing to read a headline, it's one thing to we live in a paradigm where there's us and them, and othering is like inevitable. Even the wokest of us others. It's we all have our biases. We were born with them. They're probably encoded in our DNA at this fucking point. I don't know. But it is essential that we hear this shit from other real life people. We need to put faces to names. Like, it's one thing to read it and dismiss it because that person's like over there and they're like not of my belief system, they're not of my religion. I don't know anybody like that. I would tell your story. Like, tell it here where it's safe, but also tell it like where it's not safe. Tell it to somebody fucking randomly when you probably shouldn't, when it's most inappropriate. Just be like, I'm so let me rephrase that. Don't scream out, I had an abortion at Starbucks. What I'm saying is, like, when you're in conversation with somebody that you know you're diametrically on the other side of the aisle with, like, humanize the situation so that maybe it will spark their empathy. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will just reinforce their dogma. I don't know, but I think it's worth the risk to tell the story, because the more women that share this stuff, especially women that are in positions of medical authority, it carries weight. So thank you again to Tamara and as a medical professional for sharing this. I did also want to talk about something that Mayari shared, Mayari, Adriano, last name, Mayari Adriano in group, had shared her own abortion story, and I want to thank you as well for being vulnerable enough to do so. And you had shared that a few years back you used neem oil, N-E-E-M oil, to induce an at-home abortion. Now, I know what neem oil is, but I had never heard of it being used to induce abortion. And I would love it if you would be willing to, or if anyone else has used something similar or had a similar experience, or has used any type of non-traditional, non-Western means of inducing an abortion. If you could share your experience, if you could share more about the process, just so we can learn, because I don't want to encourage anyone to do anything at home without a doctor, but to Mayari's point with her post was, women have been taking these affairs into their own hands since the dawn of time, in spite of patriarchy, in spite of whatever legislating or dictating what we can and cannot do. So of course there have always been methods of which we've done this on our own at home. So I would love to hear more about that, and more regarding, if you had side effects, if you didn't, if you ultimately found yourself going to the doctor, or anyone that maybe had experience. I don't know if there's a term for it, but maybe there are women out there that do help and assist women have at home naturopathic abortions via naturopathic ways. So I would love to further that conversation. So yeah, I guess it's time to tell my story.